All right, guys. So this isn't an episode. This is a quick little snippet, live reaction. There was a major trade that just happened in the NHL. Ryan O'Reilly moves to Toronto. It was a three-way trade between Toronto, Minnesota, and St. Louis. Christian, do you have the trade details? You are on
Leafs
mute right now.
signing Ryan O'Reilly. Sorry, Brett.
You're good now. You're good.
Okay. So Leafs are getting Ryan O'Reilly. We're also getting Noel Chari, two forwards from the St. Louis Blues. We're giving up a ton of picks, like so many picks. It's not even funny. First, second, third, and fourth. Fourth is going to Minnesota. They did some retention, 25%. Blues also did retention on O'Reilly's deal, 50% of his contract. I think the cap hit that Leafs are getting O'Reilly at is 1.875 K.
Wow.
So it's the 75% retention, or it might be a little less than that, but yeah, and Charlie's cap, I think is like a 1.125. So just initial thoughts. I get a text from my cousin. He's like, emergency, and just sends me the tweet. I stared at it. I'm like, okay, no, this isn't real. I check the tweet, see if it's verified, yada yada. I'm like, oh my god, this actually happened. Yeah, I mean, instant thoughts is Kyle Dubas. He took the home run swing, and I think that whether you're an analytically inclined person or maybe you just like some old fashioned hockey, I feel like this is a good mixture of both worlds. Boomer or Zoomer Leaf fans should all enjoy this trade. Ryan O'Reilly is regarded as being a good center defensively. In terms of analytics, a lot of metrics that way, even when he's in a down year this year. And we know that, yeah, the production hasn't been there this year. There has been some injury concerns. He just came back from an injury. I think it was a broken foot, but we got him early before the deadline, right? Like, well, we still got 2 3 weeks somewhere between there until the actual deadline. And that's been a theme with Dubas. He doesn't necessarily do his big trades on deadline day. You think back to the Muzzin deal. I think the Foligno deal, it was a little close to the deadline, but that was
It was like a
because
week
of
before.
the COVID. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
because of the COVID stuff, though. I think we talked about this last
They
pod,
needed 10
or
days or
might have been
whatever.
after.
They needed 10
Yeah,
days.
so there
Yeah.
was the quarantine stuff, but even the Geo trade I think was a little bit early. Same thing here. There's I think Frege put out that they're going to be playing tomorrow against Montreal, so that's going to be really exciting. I may or may not have looked at Ticketmaster, being like, "Did I really buy a ticket right now?" Yeah, no. Prices for league tickets are nuts, but if you are there tomorrow, you're gonna be in for a good crowd, hopefully.
So
Yeah, it's so exciting.
So let me just ask you this. Ryan O'Reilly, he's known to play two positions, left wing and center. Where would you want him slotting in? Because obviously you guys needed a 2 LW and kind of a 3C, but I don't know. What do you want to see?
Yeah, definitely the priority was 2LW. Um, I feel like last time that me and Dave maybe did a Leafs corner, might have we were on the D train still, possibly. Not on, no. We were always on the forward train, but we were coming around to a reality where maybe it was the D first that move was made on. Obviously, that wasn't the case. We didn't go the route of like McCabe. We ended up going with the forward, and where I'd like to see O'Reilly, I still have not made my mind up yet, but I'll give you my initial idea, because at the end of the day, it is dependent on two things. Are the Leafs done? And I don't know yet because I'm waiting for Cap Friendly to update. This is how fresh this video is. Cap Friendly hasn't updated. I can't go in and mess with the lines just yet. I could, but I'd have to simulate the trades or whatever. I'm just going to wait until the facts are from Cap Friendly. And two, first one, like I said, are the Leafs done? We don't know. Two, Matthew Nyes, right? That's the other X factor here. If he ends up playing games, where do they want to play him? Where do they want him to end up come playoff time? I doubt it's 2LW. But if you're ever going to give him a shot, it's going to be in the regular season. But even then, 3LW, 4LW, like this all matters. You've probably pushed a guy like Holmberg to the brink of the lineup now. Like that final spot is going to probably be between Zach Aston Reese, Nyes, Pontus Holmberg, Joey Anderson. Like all those depth guys are going to be basically fighting for one spot, because just off the top of my head here, what we have in stone, you have you have pairings set in stone right now. Is there a world where O'Reilly could be on the first line with like Matthews and Marner? I
Dude,
guess I don't see it. Right? And doesn't that sound that sounds pretty good, eh?
that's a big
But no,
smile on your
like I
face.
mean, yeah, right. I'm telling you, I haven't stopped grinning since the trade. It's been great.
This reminds me of when like remember we were at the cottage together and then Tavares signed with the Leafs. Dude, you couldn't wipe that smile off the face. You have that same big smile right now, and I haven't seen. It's good to see you
Yeah,
this happy.
I'm super excited. Yeah, I think the Tavares one that was obviously next level. But I'm trying to remember the last Leafs
It
move
wasn't
that made
Foligno,
me
I'll
this
tell you that.
excited. No, it wasn't Felino. I don't know. I don't know. It might have been the Tavares move, honestly. Anyways, the fit. So what do we have set in? We'll go based off of what Leafs have been running with as of right now, right? They've been going Bunting, Matthews, Nylander. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you keep that first line together. You could go O'Reilly, Tavares, Nylander. You could go Tavares, O'Reilly, Nylander. I don't really care what they end up doing there. That doesn't like I don't care if O'Reilly and Tavares are on the same line. I really don't think it matters who's the center and who's the winger. Because even if let's say on paper they put out the lineups and it says O'Reilly's at left wing, there might be situations where O'Reilly's taking that face off, or they might have situations where O'Reilly does the centerman coverage in the defensive zone because he's more capable than Tavares, possibly, right? Like it doesn't really matter. Um, but you could also go with the three-headed monster look, right? Maybe even call it the four-headed monster because we know that I'm high on Camp. I know Camp hasn't been as good lately; he's definitely cooled off.
That's some
But
deep.
I was actually in person for his last goal. His last goal was like December 9, I think, or no, a little bit early. It was like December 6 or 7 against LA when we won like 5-0. I was there for that goal, so maybe that's what's gonna happen. I just gotta be at the arena for Camp to
You
score.
know what? Ryan O'Reilly for that price and as a 3C, there's not a lot of 3Cs better than that. I'll tell you.
Listen, man, right? So, but look,
You have
look, if you
options.
put him at 3C, it does still leave your 2LW kind of shallow because it's one of Yarn Crow or like maybe not, but probably not. Like you're not counting on that. And that's why we talk about like, are the Leafs done yet? I want to see how much space they have. I think someone told me they still have like 4 million in LTIR space, but like that seems like a lot. I don't think that's right. I
We'll get
don't
in.
know.
We'll get into it on
Yeah.
Monday when that when we have the actual
Yes.
numbers ready.
Yeah.
But another question I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask you is you know obviously through this pod the guy you wanted the most was Nino Niederreiter. We also mentioned Timo Meyer one or two times, right?
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
Obviously Horvat's obviously not there. Where do you put O'Reilly
Yeah. But we
amongst these?
never.
Yes, but
Where do I put him amongst the names that we bantied around? I don't know. Like there's definitely better names, especially when you go off of the performance this year, right? But when you talk about the Leafs, you talk about the playoffs, and you talk about playoff demons and all that good stuff. And Ryan O'Reilly came from a tortured franchise, started in Colorado, but then he found
the
himself at a
re-tortured
tortured
franchise.
franchise. Yeah, so he found himself with the Buffalo Sabres, and there was that quote before he got traded to the Blues. I think it was near the end of the season. Do you remember this quote, Brian?
I do not
Where he
remember.
was like, he basically said, "I've lost the passion for playing hockey." Like he's like, "I'm not enjoying playing hockey." And then he was traded to St. Louis, right? He goes on to win a Stanley Cup. We all know the story. Um, if he didn't have the passion again this season, tell you what, he's got the passion now because that's a former Leaf slogan. The passion that unites us all. Ryan O'Reilly has it now. Okay. Yeah, I don't necessarily know if he'd be near the top of the list based on solely production. But when you consider the context of the Leafs, the playoff demons, this is a guy who overcame those demons and he led his team to a Stanley Cup um, on a run in which he was the Conn Smythe winner, right?
Fantastic run.
This guy, this guy came up clutch on both ends of the ice, right? He wasn't just potting goals; he was stopping teams from potting them on his own net. So, and this is another thing that I don't know. You can debate how much of a difference this makes, but this is another quote unquote GTA guy. I don't think he's actually in the GTA, but like he's in the Southern Ontario stratosphere where he probably grew up a Leaf fan. We're gonna get all those little quotes when he first arrives. sometimes that means something. Sometimes it does, man. There's just that little extra oomph that you put in when you're playing for your hometown team. You see it like for players in like Boston or I don't know, like just any of these cities where hockey quote unquote matters. It matters a little bit more to that player. So I think if we see O'Reilly at his best, you could put his potential performance up there with the other trade targets that are either been traded like Tarasenko or Horvat, or guys that we're still expecting like Meyer. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Good to know. Good to
It's
know.
it's
Good to hear.
now you look at like you said the guys that are left like Meyer and Kane. To me, Meyer, like all the stuff we know about Meyer, Brian, is not looking good for you guys, right? Because I feel like it has to be Carolina or New Jersey, right? I'm sorry, man. It has
My
to
money
be.
is on Carolina.
I don't know who I'm trying to think who I'd rather wanted to go to
Neither.
from a Leafs fan perspective. Yeah, I know. For you, yeah.
Even for you guys,
Because it
because
sounds like
because
no, yeah. Because I mean, if you're trying to win a cup, you got to go through whoever,
East is
right?
so tough, man. And
Ah,
this
so
is why I like the O'Reilly trade for you guys. You have somebody that knows what it's like, someone that knows what it's like to go far, someone that's been to war. Looking back, that St. Louis Boston series, that was an absolute battle between two giants, right?
it was a
And
classic. Yeah.
and O'Reilly was one of the players that stood out. St. Louis obviously came out on top, and I think this is what elevates you guys to the next level. I don't want to say that you guys are gonna outright win the cup. I still think Boston still has that extra bit of oomph over, and they're not done yet either. Carolina, New Jersey, they're not done yet either. But right now, you know how I said Dallas, Carolina, and New York. You guys got to go right in between Carolina and New York right now. I think you guys are three.
Yeah.
Mind you, Boston's not done yet, right? Tampa's not done
That's
yet
what I'm
either.
telling you, man. None of these teams are done yet. Yeah, like Tampa's apparently they've been sniffing on Tyler Bertuzzi. If they had Tyler Bertuzzi, like that's a big
Underrated
deal.
pickup. Yep.
That's not a small ad, right? I like I said, you look at the guys that are left. Meyer, we think Carolina or New Jersey. The New Jersey thing, there's the Swiss connection with Meyer and Heischer. I wonder if that's a thing that maybe matters to Meyer. Not that
It might.
he doesn't necessarily get to stay where he goes, but if he only wants to sign an extension with New Jersey, then it does matter, right? That does affect things. The Kane. Question for you, Brian. How many days until we get quotes from Kane where he's like, yeah, it sucks to see O'Reilly go to Toronto. That was obviously a team that, if it wasn't New Jersey, I mean, if it wasn't New York, it would have been Toronto.
When's
I
Chicago's next game?
kid, but once, well, I mean,
Because that's
after
the answer.
Montreal, we played Chicago. Yeah, I know, right? Dude. Okay, well, someone's gonna ask the question. I don't know if we'll get answers, but someone's gonna ask the question. That'll be funny to look at.
And I'll tell you what,
Um,
I think that the O'Reilly move makes more sense for you guys than going out and getting Patrick Kane. I also really love the idea of keeping Nyes. You just have that
yes, yeah,
extra
yeah.
something, and the double retention,
The
man,
only
fantastic. Well done,
it's
Dubas.
I listen, and I don't want to make it seem like, and I've said this, like it wasn't a fleecing by us,
Nope.
not at all. If anything, we paid a lot in draft capital,
Even the
and yet
prospect,
I'm
right?
okay with it. Mikhail Abrabov is not necessarily like he's not destined to stay in the AHL, but he has not come up once in the potential call-ups this year
I
or any past year.
I feel like
So
his development was stunted a little bit, but I
he's
mean
he's kind of
the first and the
he's
second.
he's yeah. Well, listen, a first, a second, a third, and a fourth, right? Like
Whoa,
if you go look on Cap Friendly, what they do have updated is the Leafs' remaining draft picks. It's not many. We don't have a second for 3 years. This year, next year, and the year after. So that's a thing right now. We should pay a little bit of attention to Achari because it's listen. He's a footnote in respect to the rest of the deal, but he could honestly he's going to factor in our bottom six, right? Like this is a guy who he was in those Boston bottom sixes when we played them in 2017 and 2018.
yes,
Um, I don't. He was definitely there for 1 year. I don't know if he was there for both years, but he was definitely there for 1 year. And the Bruins had a fourth line with identity those years, right? They played Bruin hockey. Their whole lineup plays Bruins hockey, but those guys were were real grinders. Guys like Sean Corrali, Chris Wagner. I think there was a year they had like Joachim Nordstrom. Just guys that you plug and play. You just throw them on that line, and they play
Marcus
Bruins
Johansson's another
hockey.
one.
Mojo, yeah, I forgot that he was a Bruin. That was weird, right?
Yes.
Especially for you, yeah. But yeah, I think this that he's going to factor in. He'll play probably on the fourth line. But I don't know. There's a world, like I said, if you put O'Reilly in the top six, you could go Kerfoot, Achari, Yarncrow. Like that's a third line. And then what that does is it lets you keep Kampf and Engvall together because for some reason those guys work together. Don't know why, but even going back to last year, they would do like Mikheyev, Kampf, Engvall, and that line worked. And we know that Kampf plays better when he's the 4C, right? Because
Yes.
you're taking a little bit of the load off of him, and it allows them to do some of the offensive stuff that we sometimes see, right? So I'm excited for Achari. Obviously, not as much as O'Reilly, but I don't think we should ignore his addition as well. So on the whole, it's tough to be too mad. Like I said, Boomer or Zoomerly fan, you should like this move. And this is Dubas making the home run swing. It's not like I made a comparison to someone. I said O'Reilly is the Kawhi and the Chari could be the Danny Green, but obviously very different circumstances. One's in the off season, one's halfway through the season. But listen,
It's the right idea though.
it's exciting. It's yeah. You got the injured player too, right? Kawhi was injured already, coming off an injury. Kawhi was the Finals MVP for the Spurs. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure it
Yeah,
was
he
the
was.
Finals
Yeah.
MVP. Yeah, right, because he won it twice. So, dude, look at it. Look at these comparables, man. O'Reilly, Conn Smythe this year.
I
I wonder how
I like
we
the
should
move,
look
man.
this.
I like the
I'm gonna
move.
look this up for the full episode. How many players have won Conn Smythe for two teams? Right?
Yes.
That'll be
And
something I'll look at.
you know what? Obviously Dave couldn't be with us because he's cleaning up a banquet hall right now. Uh, but you know what? Man, the smile on his face, he was ecstatic too. And there's a bunch of Leafs fans there. They're all really happy about when the news broke. It happened all at once. Everybody found out, like, what? Ryan O'Reilly got traded to the Leafs, and it's a moment I won't forget. I mean, like Caps fan, I don't really mind that much, but to see everybody light up like that was pretty interesting. Regardless, any final thoughts before we close off?
I'm excited, man. They play tomorrow. Leafs Montreal in Toronto.
Is it hockey night in
I say
Canada?
O'Reilly Potts one. It's hockey night in Canada, my friend. Where can you watch hockey night in Canada?
You can watch Hockey Night in Canada, Football TV. Um, yeah, use our link below. Shout out to Razor. Shout out to NHLShop.ca. If you want an O'Reilly Leafs jersey, you know where to go. All right, that's a wrap. And yeah, that's it. Ryan O'Reilly is a Leaf.